Today, we got an absolutely critical piece of information from none other than the Federal Reserve, giving us a sense of when the recession is going to hit. And this, my friends, is going to be super interesting. I believe that we now have a little bit of a map on not only how the next few months are going to play out, but exactly what the Federal Reserve's plan is and when this potential elusive recession of all recession doomsday eras could commence. Spoiler alert, it's not what you've been told. Check it out. This sly dog over here, Jerome Powell, just gave his new remarks on the economy. And just to be clear, we were right. They're pausing Fed rate hikes. Jerome Powell does not like to surprise the markets. So it shouldn't come as a shock that when 99.9% of the market is betting on no rate hike, they don't do a rate hike. But we were right that there is another rate hike loading, one more potentially in the chamber. Now you might be saying, it's already so bad, things are so down, what's going on? Well, the reality is the economy is not so bad. There's still a tremendous amount of consumer activity and there's a tremendous amount of economic growth. Once again, the utterly key pieces of data here are that the economy being strong is not really what the Fed is concerned with. They want to see price stability. And so they're going to keep this higher for longer strategy until they see prices stabilize. That's inflation. And they also don't see a recession until 2027, which if you're doing your moon math here is after we're predicting the entire next bull cycle of crypto. So that leads me to a very important conclusion, which is that, hey, look, the Fed really wants to bring down the labor market and they want to keep prices stable because if the labor market gets too tight, then you get a wage price spiral and that affects everything. And of course, if you don't have price stability, that makes everyone feel bad. And that's kind of what the point they made here is that people are feeling really bad because prices are shooting up compared to what they make. So they can no longer afford the same quality of life, price stability. Now, if they're able to put in place some price stability, then they will have fulfilled their mandate. But that doesn't mean the economy needs to actually slow down or go into some crushing recession, though many predict that it will. The thing is, throughout the entire decade following 2010 or 2011, they had an incredibly fast growing economy with relatively stable prices. And so in reality, it is possible for the economy to expand without prices exploding. And that's what they're trying to do. Now, here's the true thing that I think is going to happen. They're looking to crack labor, and labor will crack housing. Now, will this send us into an ultimate depression recession? I don't know. It's unclear. We're in fairly new territory. But I believe this is going to be a situation where I tend to think that this is right as well. My theory for a while has been that there's too many people predicting this recession for it to happen in the way that people want. There's too many bears. And when there's too many people on one side of the equation, well, it never works out. So I believe that there's potential for another massive face-ripping bull run before this recession kicks off, before we actually have to come and pay this bill. And if that happens, that would be this entire crypto run that we're anticipating before we see that recession. But I do believe there's a ton of risk that we will get a crack in housing, which is totally unaffordable. It's just housing is so out of the norm and people need housing. It's just so absurd, the pricing, that it needs to come down. And I believe that we could see a massive drop in housing, which would bring other things down temporarily. In fact, it's the only reason that's really keeping me from all-inning the crypto sector right now, because I do believe we're heating up to another run. That said, I'm sticking to my plan and DCAing in as it makes sense. So to clarify, I believe there will be a drop in housing prices. Remember, the Fed can always just decide to lower interest rates by 2% in a single meeting. Say things are really cracking, things are really breaking. They can just decide to say, hey, look, we're taking rates way down. They've cut rates right down to zero super fast to stimulate the economy many times before in history, and they will do it again. So that's the thing, is they can talk tough and raise slow. But when something does break, whether it's banks needing bailouts because all of these businesses are insolvent, commercial real estate's insolvent, or housing gets cracked and banks need a bailout, or whatever the cause of banks needing a bailout is, well, they can cut rates down to zero and start bailing out the financial sector real fast. But does that mean we're gonna get this hellish bear market or this widespread depression that everyone's been talking about? I think it's really hard for you to bet on a never happened before in anyone's lifetime event, and to time that is where the real magic is. So will it happen? I don't know, maybe. Certainly the fiat Ponzi system seems like it's running out of road, but at the same time, I'm not a big believer that everyone's going to be right about the end of this world order. That just seems ridiculous to me. So with that in mind, I think that this 2027 prediction might actually be on the money. And I think in the meantime, staying allocated to the market and being prepared for some potential black swan radical dips a la 2020, well, that is not a bad idea. In fact, that is my exact plan. As soon as the meeting started, you saw Tesla rip up, then bounce down, then almost come up, failed, created a double top, and now it's under where it started. It's actually well under. And you can kind of see a similar McDonald's pattern here on Bitcoin, though it's a little less interesting. Again, the day-to-day of where Bitcoin and Ethereum goes from here is really hard to predict. I'm not predicting it. I'm just accumulating slowly, and I believe that's the way to play the game. However, the drama here in BitBoy crypto land continues to explode and bubble over. He posted this yesterday, which is effectively a video, which I'm not going to play in full, but he goes through essentially saying how he's received death threats, how he is completely broke, how he has had everything taken from him, and in order to fight his legal defense to get his company back, he's asking for donations. And as you can see here from this donation address, so he has about $77,000 worth of donations so far that have come in on this Etherscan address. Now, naturally, the biggest and one of the most successful crypto YouTubers in history, arguably the most successful as far as numbers and reach, and clearly someone who showed a ton of wealth on the timeline, now begging for donations. If there's any bigger sign of this bear market than BitBoy's current situation, please let me know, because this is absolutely crazy. Now, there was a response here from Hit Network saying that essentially he's lying and that he has millions of dollars from the company, that he has plenty of assets, and that this is just simply not true, and that he's got other allegations against him. Once again, I don't like to involve myself in drama, but it's hard not to stay glued to this screen. Even without his channel, BitBoy continues to be the main topic in crypto. And again, we can hope that in the future there will be more interesting topics than one man's drama. But for now, what can we say? This is some real Jerry Springer shit here. And what I can say is that there's an ocean of gap between what BitBoy's saying and what his team's saying. And in the end, everyone is going to have to form their opinions here. Like I said, I've known BitBoy since way before he became the sort of ego-driven character that he had become in the last few months. My hope is that anyone with a big audience in this community operates with the highest amount of integrity. It's what moves the space forward. And so we continue in BitBoy crypto drama land. I know you guys love these drama episodes. Obviously, you guys know the way I conduct myself on this channel and the way I interact with literally every possible opportunity as a YouTuber. And that's why I only take sponsors like NordVPN, which, speaking of Nord, is by far the easiest way for you to protect yourself here online in cryptocurrency. If you're not using NordVPN, especially as the SEC is now talking about attacking and suing different DeFi organizations, different DeFi projects, now it's pretty clear that their goal is to completely take down any DeFi or any self-custody trading. This is the great war. And if you're browsing the internet naked, as I say, meaning without a VPN, then you are absolutely in jeopardy of having your identity and your information leaked, exposed, or worse yet, getting the tax man breathing down your neck if you made any mistakes on those taxes. So check out NordVPN, especially threat protection. That's why I signed up to have them sponsor this channel, because threat protection is an absolute must in the modern day and age. Vitalik Buterin even had his phone number SIM swapped through data leaks, and all that stuff can be prevented with just $3 per month. $3 per month, 30-day money-back guarantee. This is what we call a no-brainer. If you don't have NordVPN, please sign up with my link. Like I said, it supports the channel, and for that, I thank you. And shout out to NordVPN for sponsoring this video, as well as making it possible for me to expand my research team even in these bearish times. And finally, I know we said we'd be done with the drama, but guess what? We have word that Sam Bankman-Fried's father dragged his mother into an FTX US salary dispute. Effectively, what happened is the dad was getting paid a salary by FTX, probably for doing nothing, but just because there was so much money coming out of it, he put mom and dad on salary, or dad, and dad was only getting paid 200 grand. Again, we can't imagine he was doing much for FTX except being the father of the CEO. And he argued with Sam that he expected $1 million salary, not a $200,000 salary. And in leaked messages, he says, "Gee, Sam, I don't know what to say here. This is the first I've heard of $200K a year, putting Barbara on this." In other words, Bankman lobbied his son to massively increase his own salary by threatening him with telling his mommy. "Don't make me tell your mommy, son." Oh my God. Again, eventually we'll have more interesting stuff to talk about than these people's dramas. But as you can see, clearly the SBF family, the entire Bankman fraud family, was in on something here, was in on this. As always, this FTX house of cards continues to unravel somehow, and I'm sure the next update will be even more shocking than the last. Now, I wanted to end today's episode with a message of sorts. Your biggest risk is being underallocated to the industry you log into every single damn day to talk about, since you know it's going to go up eventually, but not having enough coins because you're a little, you know what. In the end, bear markets suck. Prices continue to grind down until they don't. And at one point, price explodes upwards and momentum begins. Crypto is a momentum game. Once that momentum gets kicked off, it's a very powerful thing because the holders in this industry are absolutely savage and they do not let the newbies or the latecomers get a good advantage. Either you're early to the momentum game or you're late. But in a world that is increasingly unipolar, in a world that is increasingly deglobalized, in a world where fiat currencies are consistently under pressure, there are few things that make as much sense as Bitcoin and the rest of crypto. Now, guys, one more thing I wanted to add, that today the Superverse DAO that was voted on by the community and has finally gone live. This is full decentralized governance, on-chain voting, now taking shape. Go check out the Superverse DAO Twitter. It'll show up right here on the screen. If you have any questions about the DAO, the new on-chain mechanism that's being released, which is all from the community voted on a few months back, check out the Telegram, hop in Telegram and ask any questions you have. Again, a super proud moment for me as a founder to see the project moving to that next phase. And like I said, I'm just super excited to keep seeing Superverse progress into the future as this entire new bull run starts to take shape. Yes, it's a very proud moment for me as a founder and as, you know, a community member like you guys. So shout out to the community and shout out to the DAO for that next step forward. As always, if you guys enjoy these, you know what to do. Hit that like button if you like this video. If you don't like the videos, hit the dislike button. Show me what you think. I'm not scared. I can handle it. I promise you. As always, if you like this video, make sure you click on this one. It's popping up right now. It's even better than the one you just watched, and I'll see you very soon on the next episode.